Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RedPill Arabia. This is your host, Badr. Today we have an honorable guest, Dr. Suleiman Shamsuddin from Kuwait. Dr. Suleiman is an engineer and he holds a PhD in engineering. He's a professor and he have lots and lots to share with us. In addition to his own professional career, he's also a writer and author in various subjects. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Suleiman Shamsuddin. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam, Engineer Badr. I'm so happy to be with you and with your audience and followers and people who are watching this program.
Pleasure ours, sir. Sir, I've heard you a couple of days ago talking on social media platform, talking about men and women relationships. And you intrigued me with your 43, 44 years of marriage and how it's so successful and you recommend it for single to marry. However, as myself, I'm single and I have an opposing area. Would you, sir, explain to us the pros and cons of your marriage experience?
Well, in our life as a human being, there is no perfections or no perfection. We are not angels. We are a human being. We are not saint, shaitan. So we have both the positive and the negative, the evil, and the mercy and the good side. So from my point of view, and that's according to my belief and understanding, that God created us and that we will be tempted, will be examined, will be tested. Like I'm a professor. When you take students, 30 or 40 or 80, whatever number you have to examine them. And there are students who get excellent A, which I see in an excellent student, and those who flunk and fail. And when they fail, you give them another chance. So life is beautiful when you look at it. That is a challenge. So man and woman, but the general rule that we have been created that a man cannot live without, his a wife or a woman. When you have cases like your good self, you are now 40 years old and you have not got married. But that's not the general rule. That's an exception. And who knows, maybe after this meeting, you will change your mind and you will get married. And that happens. I had a meeting, a guy who was living next to us, our neighbor, he just got married and he's 36. So I asked him, what made you get married? Well, he said, it just came from nowhere. I have one of my children. He married 5 years ago. And I was trying to convince him. I was not able to do that. So what I did, I discussed the matter with one of his closest friend. I told him that I will give you a gift. You'll give it a bonus. You'll get, if you have a good relation with my son, if you convince him, and he did, and he succeeded. This 5 years ago, and I'm trying that with my second son. He's 36. Okay, it's the way. It's a point that comes, whether it's a physical need, whether it's a psychological need, whether it's whatever it is. Because one term that I would like to mention here to the people who are following us, that God created us, that every single person is unique. In Arabic, we say faridun min naw'ah. And that is the beauty of life. The beauty of God who created a human being. I am myself, if I had a twin brother or sister, everyone is unique. Badr is unique. People who are following this, whether it's 10 people, individuals, or 100 or 1,000. Okay. When you go to industry, and both of us are engineers, okay, you can manufacture so many and a number of cars, whatever, cups or glasses or houses. But for a human being, even our thumbs are different. So in summary, the general rule, the normal situation is that we need to have a partner, okay? And the nice, once I was having a course and the attendance was 40 girls or women, all of them were married. So I told them, but this is a fact and a very nice humor, incident or talk. I told them, your husbands cannot live without you, cannot stay. They will lose their balance. They will hit the wall at home. All of them, they laughed. I'm talking about wives from the East, from Kuwait, okay? Not from the West. So all of them, they laughed. They said, but our husbands, they don't mention that. They don't say that I cannot live without you. Well, I told them, well, he's an Arab. He's tough, they don't have that kind of nice words. I love you, I like you, you are beautiful, you are handsome. I cannot, I will die without you, okay? You know what I mean? Nation-wise, the Egyptians are nice. And the way the women, Egyptian wives, they treat their husbands very nice. If you enter YouTube and Badr, and it's good to translate this, a very nice humor to YouTube, and it compares a Palestinian wife, okay, with a Lebanese wife. Lebanese, they talk very nice. No, a Palestinian with a Syrian wife. الفرق بين الفلسطينية والسورية. A Syrian, I would assume that there are followings from Syria and from Palestine, okay? MashaAllah, the Syrian, she is the best wife, okay? The way she treats her husband. The Palestinian, she's harsh. And it's related to their background. Palestinians are, I don't want to go into politics, oppressed and harsh life. And that's the output, okay? So I don't want to elaborate, to talk too much in this question.
Well, but if I may ask, the thing is, you present the marriage as a partnership where sometimes it goes good and sometimes it goes bad and it's totally accepted. However, from our generation point of view, that the marriage is more beneficial to the women more than men, in that sense that we as men, we work very hard to keep the relationship together. We're the men who are always, you mentioned a moment ago, how women will always demand the man to say that you're pretty, that I love you. In the beginning of the relationships, as a man, I'm attracted to a woman for her looks, for biological reason, for her good personality, etc., and never see beyond. However, unfortunately, most of the women in the world, I'm talking about average, because I cannot speak very delicately about the matter, I don't have a statistics paper, but the general rule is a woman can love a man for his personality. However, when she wants to commit in a marriage relationship with a man, she wants a man who is superior intellectually, superior financially, superior in all areas. And she wants the man to maintain this kind of superiority and to work hard to keep her interest sustained. And whenever the man falls behind and he loses his wealth, he uses his health, he uses whatever that attracts her in the beginning, they call it monkey branching. I'm talking about girls who are still desired by the public, women under the age of 40. Usually, if they don't have children, or if they have a small number of children, and her husband falls, he automatically leave the guy and move on. So the man have no sense of security. However, on the other side, the man who initially married the woman for her looks and her youth, if she loses that, he will always keep her. He will never leave her. So men actually don't feel safe with women in our modern era because they are not as committed in a relationship. In a way, a man cannot feel safe with a woman. If I want to marry and invest emotions and money and time, I want to have a sense of security. In today's world, it's very hard for men to have a trust in a woman for a relationship. What's your comment on that, sir?
Well, I think what you have mentioned, Engineer Badr, differs a lot, maybe by 180 degrees from society to society, okay? In the East, especially Arab and Muslim world, the woman is so much devoted and loyalty from the wife to the husband is more than the man. And even from Islamic perspective or point of view, and I will, when I mention this, I will elaborate and clarify it, especially for non-Muslim who are following us, and they say Muslims they marry a second wife and third and up to four. So while in the West, no, loyalty, that's my understanding from the wife to the husband. Maybe it is less culture-wise. Like I will mention in India. In India, the wife or the woman, the girl will pay the dowry, you know, اللي هو يسمونه مهر. Okay. So different the culture. You go to Egypt, while the wife is strong. You go to Saudi Arabia. I have a very nice form, one page, which because one of the fields that I'm specialized in is leadership. So it's called family leadership. Who leads at home? If I may raise this question to you, Badr, Engineer Badr, who is the leader at home? Is it the husband or the wife? What do you think?
Usually is the wife.
But in the East,
set the boundary, and the woman take care of the house activities.
No, who is the leader? Who is the leader? Who is stronger? Who is has more power and influence physically and convincing wise? Like in the East, and it differs also from city to the urban. Okay, Bedouin, definitely the man has more power. When you go to Egypt, I have done some statistics also because the form is very nice. It's 8 characteristic or behavior, like loyalty. If I give you 100 points, I tell you this 100 point divided between husband and the wife. From my perspective, from my understanding, loyalty, the wife will take 80, maybe 70%, and the husband 30. Okay.
If I might,
yes.
If I might intervene,
yes.
Sir, the thing is, it's not in that way you said it. You see, for a man, biologically, we are polygamists. Biologically,
yes.
we are
yes.
we seek to have many partners.
Okay.
And for us, men, because we are different than women, we separate between emotions and desire. So a man could have multi-women, however, he only can desire one person. For a woman, it's different. For a woman, she cannot be physically, sexually with a person without emotion. That's why even in the most liberal parts in the world, when a woman starts to have multiple relationships, she feels dirty, she feels cheap. In the most liberal part of the world, because she feels that she's doing something wrong. She's giving herself without having emotion. So when a woman condemns a man for having another wife or a mistress, she condemns the man from her own perspective, that I cannot give myself to 2 men at the same time. How will we do the same? So we have different frequency, we have different way of observing.
Yes, completely.
Women, in terms of mate garden, you familiar, sir, with the term mate garden? You know, inside مسيطر على زوجته. Arabs and Muslims are mostly known for mate garden, but we have reason for it. And I said about a lot very briefly, because in our culture, we're really devoted to our family in a way that the biggest insult in our society is just mention your mom's or sister. Just saying mom or sister, that's the biggest offense for an Arab guy. So we are protective of our family, and we care about having our own seeds. That's my wife, that's my honor. I want our offspring to be mine. So we are afraid to leave our ladies, women, among other men, feeling that she might be tempted. Therefore we are more controlling. Different society don't care. I know personally, I don't want to mention such a country, but I know personally, I've read of a certain country that they don't mind their women, even if they're married, to go with men who are much stronger and smarter so he can have a better offspring named after him, but he have better genetics. He have different way of thinking. But ours, we are made garden because we know that women are weak when it's after marriage, consumed by a few years, there's boredom and there are problems. So when a woman goes outside unattended with a male, it's easy for her to be approached by other men. And if the man is busy bringing food on the table, she might be weak, and then she have a relationship with a different man. So we're made garden to protect our own families. It's not a misogynistic way. It's not we are controlling. If we are sure, I personally, if I had a wife and I go to a society where it's more liberal, I don't mind for her to go with a bikini because I'm sure that she will not be harassed by other men. The concept is not controlling, because it's we want to have a sustained relationship. And I'll end with this. Once a woman sees a man that is more favorable than her own husband, I'm talking about the internationally wise, she will always start to distance herself emotionally from the guy, from her husband, let alone divorce. And that's one of the main reasons for the increasing number of divorce, because if you read the statistics, the divorce increases among the women who are highly educated, women who have jobs, because they have this financial security that she can bail out anytime. However, women who have least educated, conservative societies, usually they last their marriage. What's your take on that, sir?
Well, me, myself, as a person who has married 44 years ago, and which my life, not just my marriage life, my whole life is based upon my understanding to my religion, Islam. Okay, from all aspects, whether it's financial, whether it's social, whether it's relationship, okay. And I will here introduce a very nice verse that God created us, nations and tribes. That is the reason I accepted your invitation to participate in this. You said a large number of my audience are non-Muslim from different countries, from US, from Europe, from Spain, and you lived in Spain. Because we as Muslims are asked to present our culture, our behavior, our understanding, and tell them that, okay, I'll give you a good example. When I went to the state, I mentioned the country, it doesn't make even to the West, but the Western society, the society which sex is open, okay? And we have a very nice verse in Quran that the strongest temptation to a man, even to a woman, is sex. زُيِّنَ, and to a man, as mentioned there. لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. Allah created us that there is a high attraction from the woman to the man. The man, he likes to see and live and even have intercourse with a woman. But Islam came, put it in a nice perspective, in a legal way, in a marriage, not having what they call it, zina or adultery. Okay. So when I was there, we were there 3 students. We were 18 years old, and we were looking for an apartment or a flat to live in as a students. And the town was very small. There was no. This is 1972. There was no buildings. Okay, it was not a city, a town. Everybody, for 3 days we were rejected. Nobody was ready to give us the flat or the apartment because we were bachelors. We were not married. Why? Because bachelors, they enjoy themselves at the weekend, noisy, okay? They cannot يتحملون ذلك. And the 3rd day, we took a taxi and we went to a nice house, and an old man, and I specify he's not young, he's old, maybe 75, 80 years. Through the phone, we did not mention, maybe he did not hear that we are bachelors. Then he said, no, I cannot rent you the flat or the first floor. It's a house. He was living in the ground floor. and we wanted the first floor. Why? He said, well, you are bachelors. I said, we are bachelors, yes, but no, he said, no, because bachelors, they enjoy themselves, they bring their girlfriends and all this noisy and dirty, even dirty. So after a long discussion, we were able to convince him that we are Muslims and we don't do that. We don't have girlfriends. We don't drink wine. We don't get drunk. You know what this man said, this old man? I still remember, this is 1972, August 1972. He said, are you angels? Are you angels? How do you enjoy yourself drinking beer or wine? That is a society, right? For them, it's okay. For them, it's okay because sex is always, it's bothering them. They have a problem. You said, divorces and house beating problems because of the wine, number one, not committing adultery. What I am trying to say is that even now in our society, I entered this house club 2 days ago, and the discussion was about those men who commit zina in our society. So our engineer Badr, not in the West. In the West, it's okay, right? That's okay. Yeah, guys, another enjoyed himself with another girl. That's okay. But in our society, that's khiyana, right? Khana zawjatahu yani. And the discussion was there was 400, 500 people attending the meeting or in the clubhouse. Okay. And even in our society, we have this boys, because of this open media, all this easy going. He goes and commit adultery with a girl, second girl. That is the reason I published this book, which I mentioned. The title of my book is The Eternal Love. And I divide marriages into 3 types. The first type, I call it Instagram or WhatsApp or social media, marriage. It doesn't take that long. They will marry after 6 months. She looks very nice. She talks very nice, and vice versa. They think that they are angels. They will have the best life. But they will enter the real life. Well, it's easy. Almost 15 years ago, let me tell you this example. 15 years ago, at that time, still we do. This mobile was not invented, okay? The machine or the social media communication was the pager. Many people, young people, do not know that pager. You ring a phone and a message will go to the opposite side.
Even today, the doctor use pagers. Even today, the doctor.
Even now they use it.
The
doctors, they use it. Yeah, because it's easier, faster. And the point is this: a friend of mine came. He said, this guy, he was a medical doctor. He want to marry to our daughter. Why don't you, ask his friend and so you can recommend him what kind of person he is. So I went there and asked people. I was able to reach one of his friends. He was also a doctor. People that are very conservative and talking about their friends, but this is a real case. He want to get married. So at the end, he said, well, my friend, what I dislike that he used the phone, not the phone at that time. Yeah, the mobile was there, but still WhatsApp and so on was not there. The mobile was invented. Okay, just correction. But there was no other social media, WhatsApp or Instagram or all this. He said, my friend, he uses the phone so often. Politely, he said that he has, communication with girls, lady friends or girlfriends. And the boy was so polite. And then I asked him, if this guy is your friend, come to your father and you want to marry your sister, would you accept? He said, no. Okay. Then I understood. Then I asked him another question. Okay. I said, is this was when he was a student or he's still doing that? He said, no, he's still doing that because it happens even from our belief that a person is very young, he has girlfriends, but at the end he cooled down and he settled.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
back in the past, it was easier for men to marry at young age because
Yes.
the life required less qualification, less work, etc.
Yes. Yes.
Nowadays, men, they become capable of marriage usually around the age of 30, sometimes 35 and 40. So my question
Yes.
is,
Better. No, no. Let me continue this incident, this case. The way he divorced his wife. So I went to my friend family, my friend. I told them my advice without going to details because these are secrets, right? Without telling them that this guy so and so and so. My advice is don't give your daughter to this guy, to this medical doctor. They did not took my advice, and they have the full right? Because they may have asked other people. You know what happened? This guy who married to this girl, after 6 months, you know the way he divorced her by a message. He sent her a message, okay, on her pager. So easy. This is in my book. I said this is the first type of marriage. First type of marriage is that easy. It's like in the West. I'm not saying that we are better than the West. They have their own problems, and we have own problems. And there are, because of this open communication, there are problems like divorce and all this other thing. So what I'm saying that this leads us to having strong relation, not knowing each other, strong relation, going to deep, committing intercourse and before marriage or after marriage, differ,
if I may, Professor, give you shed some light because you have experienced, we say, the golden era. Your time were different than ours. As I was to say a moment ago, that now men delay their marriage until their 30s on average.
Yeah.
And a man seeks a woman companion since the age of 14. So you're talking 20 years. As a normal man who have high testosterone, we cannot fight nature. So a man who delays his marriage until his 30s, usually according to statistics, there's one or three main possibilities that this time have been done. Either become extremely workaholic, nerdy, that become antisocial, devoted to his that he can forget about his sexual needs, or he returns to masturbation and pornography and possible homosexuality because he wants to fulfill the needs. Or third one is to have multiple short-term relationships to fulfill his needs. So from my own perspective, the way I see it, as long, of course, a man have multiple options as a Muslim. I'm talking about worldwide. I'm not talking specific about the Muslim because I'm not, propagating adultery or fornication. But if a man is put in this position, in order to save himself to become a normal human being, he have to maintain his sexual relation with the woman, whether by having an Islamic urfi marriage, which is a title paper that allows the man, if he cannot afford to marry a traditional marriage, or to have girlfriend if he's in the West, because once he does that, he becomes normal. And once he's married, he can practice this normal needs. Because in my own understanding, as a practical person, if a man, his sexuality is weak, he cannot provide sexual need to his wife, even if he's an angel, he will drop very low in his value and might cause the termination of the relationship. So if the man is active sexually and he does have phone calls with the ladies, that doesn't make him a bad person. What makes him a bad person is his morality, is the way he conducts life, his vision and his mentality. Is he a person responsible enough to handle marriage or not? That's what counts. I know personally so many men who were angels before marriage, and once they married, the marriage falls apart. So it's not his previous relationship, although we encourage men to abide by the laws and commandments, whether they're religious or Muslim or non-Muslim, is good. It prevents him from STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, from having babies that are illegitimate, to have a good reputation for his family, because it's a very bad thing, especially in our world, for a man to have a bad reputation being a player. So it's not good. But if he must, and he still have good personality, good judgment. If I had a sister, I'll give it to him because he's a good man. I can lay on him mentally. He can hold the family together. What's your take on that?
Well, that is the reason we go back, that we have been created nations and tribes, so we know each other, we learn from each other, we exchange experience. And I would assume, and definitely studies and surveys and statistics are very important, okay? Like in our country, in Kuwait, it's now known. I know, although I have married a long time ago, but I follow, and we have within our families, there are young people who get married and they have problems and difficulties. We try to intervene as much as we can possible. If we have been asked, we don't intervene until they have problems. So we are not isolated. I'm talking about myself, although I married a long time ago, but we are living what's happening. Definitely, they are facing a difficulty. The average age of marriage, as you said, was 22, 24, at most 25. Now it's 30 and above, okay? And I entered the meeting we had together in the clubhouse, that the issue was people who are at the age of 30 and above. So it is, but even the positive part of it is that he's more mature, right? Because their maturity and understanding and being responsible was at the age of average 22, 24 at most, okay? Now, being able to be responsible, like in Egypt, is related to financial aspect, because life is very difficult there.
Globally, and so not only Egypt, globally now, yeah, financial aspect is very important.
Yeah, but when you compare to the Gulf, it's more difficult. Like in Kuwait, a person who got married, the government give him a loan. Okay, it's much easier from financial aspect, but in all cases, there and here, the reason of delaying the marriage, reaching 30 and above, different. Here in our society, even in the West, especially our society, is the social media and the bad experience. Percentage of divorce is high. They are not mature. They don't want to take responsibility. Why should I bother? I'll be like in a cage, right? I have a very nice workshop that I give. I try to analyze life, marriage life, from all aspects, from social, from religious, from financial, from all aspects. Because, see, when you are married 24 hours a day, how much time you are devoted? I mean, you spend with this kind of sexual activity. Maybe not more than half an hour, or at the most 1 hour, right? So those people, whether it's in the West and the East, they don't keep themselves so busy. That's my experience. Okay, they finish their job and they watch TV, and you mentioned temptation is I say, may God help our children, these young people. In the past, you don't have these all media and girls and so much. You leave the house, mashallah, everywhere is there, right? Beautiful girls, beautiful speakers, beautiful films. So the temptation, they are so much tempted. How to solve that? Keep yourself busy with other things.
Dr. Suleiman, we came to an end of a half an hour. You end with a very positive note, which is sex is only a small portion of the relationship. As long as the couples keep themselves busy with different activity, with their children, with their close family relative, they be more closer emotionally and psychologically, and therefore the temptation that is affected by the media and the world would be negligible. And that's one of the keys for a successful marriage. Dr. Suleiman, thank you very much for your interview today with us. Just a general talk. We'll talk, inshallah, in the future. We'll pick a specific topic that interests the viewer and the commentator, and we'll discuss this more thoroughly. Once again, thank you very much for you being with us today, and inshallah, we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer Badr.